and the winner by knockout, Shino Aburame. Shino turned to leave his opponent, Konkuro, who was still trying to pick up the remains of his puppets. Shino had used his insect's lightning cage to disable the puppet user and won the match after 3 minutes of evading attacks. Next match, Hinata Hyuga versus Kiba Inuzuka. Neji smirked as he watched his cousin jump down to face Kiba. From his research, Kiba was the second strongest at the academy, besides Sasuke Uchiha. He could not wait to watch her lose. "Don't get yourself killed out there, Kiba," Naruto called out jokingly. "Then tell your girlfriend to hold back on me, Naruto," Kiba called back sarcastically. He turned to Hinata. "But I've been training, so I won't go easy on you," he said with a smile. Hinata smiled back and got into her battle stance. Inuzuka style, man-beast clone, fang over fang. Kiba Nakamaru began spinning towards Hinata at a speed that average Genin would have trouble with. But Hinata easily dodged, using her flowing fist style to avoid the attacks with her incredible flexibility. She continued to dodge the onslaught of attacks. Neji watched the match with a mix of emotions. He felt assured because all Hinata was doing was avoiding attacks, seemingly due to her inability to fight. But at the same time, he was frustrated that she had yet to be hit. He glanced over at Naruto, who had a large smile on his face. He also noticed that the wounds he suffered from his fight with Rock Lee had disappeared. It puzzled him, but he decided to ignore it for now. He turned back to the fight and gritted his teeth. Hinata had just landed a blow on Kiba as he flew past her. She knocked him and Akamaru out of their fang over fang attack. Kiba landed on the ground with a thud as Akamaru snarled. Kiba quickly got to his feet and prepared to begin hand-to-hand combat. He jumped at Hinata, swinging his sharp nails as Akamaru tried to bite her legs. She continued to avoid the strikes. After a while, Kiba decided to pull out some military ration pills to regenerate his chakra and strengthen Akamaru. They started attacking more viciously. Hinata finally had to perform hand signs. Water style, liquid bullets. A large ball of water shot towards Kiba, hitting him square in the chest, knocking him to the ground once again. He jumped up and threw a mixture of shuriken and kunai. Hinata evaded most of them, throwing a few of her own projectiles to intercept them. Hinata flashed behind Kiba and placed her sword at his throat. Kiba smacked the blade away before weaving hand signs. Fire style, fireball jutsu. Water style, water wall. The flames turned to steam as it crashed into the liquid. Water style, water wave. A surge of water slammed into Kiba as they were thrown across the arena. He stumbled to his feet, feeling a kunai against his heart. Kiba smirked. "Looks like I lose." "At least you did your best," she replied as she helped him steady his legs. "I suggest you keep at it with your fire ninjutsu, or maybe something else if you want." Kiba chuckled as he let Hinata heal his wounds. "Then perhaps I should see if Naruto is willing to teach me his blazing fist style later." "How about you land a hit on me, Kiba? Then I might consider teaching you," Naruto shouted from above. "Shut up, Naruto," Kiba called back. Neji continued to frown as he watched them bicker. His puzzlement and anger were starting to show on his face. He was unable to comprehend how the Hyuga reject and the dead last could be winning against a taijutsu specialist and a clan heir with ease. "Neji, what's wrong with you?" Neji turned to Tenten, who was looking at him curiously. "I know you like your brooding, but I've never seen you so angry before." Neji narrowed his eyes. Lee lost. You lost. So far, I'm the only one from our team who has passed to the finals. Meanwhile, all of Team 8 has passed. You act like that's surprising. Shino has put in the time and effort. Hinata may have been banished, but she grew stronger because of it. And Naruto tells me that he was faking being the dead last, in order to protect himself as well as Hinata. I may not know exactly why, but for whatever reason, I am certain they had a right to do so. Neji scoffed. He turned away from Tenten, who let out a sigh. Fine. If you want to continue brooding, fine with me. She left to go stand beside Lee as Hayate called for the final match. Choji Akimichi versus Gaara of the Desert. Proctor! Hayate looked up at Choji and his sensei, Asuma. I forfeit the match. Hayate nodded. He was told of Gaara's identity by the Hokage. He was not surprised that his opponent's sensei would tell him to forfeit. Choji was unhappy that he would not fight, but he trusted his sensei when he told him that Gaara would kill him without a second thought. Very well. In that case, that is the end of the preliminaries. Since there were an odd number of opponents, Fu of the Hidden Waterfall automatically moves on. Those of you who are also moving on, please come down here to find out your matchups for the finals. Genin responded by walking down to stand in front of Hayate, Hiruzen, and their senseis. Those who did not remained on the balcony. Hayate coughed before speaking. The final round of the Chunin exams will be a one-on-one fight, just like the prelims. There will be 4 matches in the first round. The 4 winners will move on to 2 final rounds. Whether you win or lose will not remove your chance of becoming a Chunin, but it will increase your favor with your village council. Now, matchups will be as follows. Naruto Uzumaki versus Sasuke Uchiha. Hinata Hyuga versus Neji Hyuga. Shino Aburame versus Fu of the Hidden Waterfall. And Shikamaru Nara versus Tamari of the Desert. Due to an odd number of fighters, Gaara of the Desert will be automatically moved on to the final round. Thus, it is possible for there to be a 3-way fight in the end. Genin glanced at each other, eyeing their future opponents. Gaara narrowed his eyes. He had missed another chance to kill a human. Sasuke smirked, internally praising himself. Neji had the same thought, but continued to keep a stoic face. Fu and Shino gave each other nods. Tamari smirked at Shikamaru, who was trying not to forfeit the match before it even began. Naruto and Hinata held stoic expressions. After Hiruzen gave a brief speech of praise to the Genin, he told them that they would have 1 month to prepare for the finals. After that, the Genin parted ways, along with their senseis. Some to rest, some to train. Naruto? Hiruzen asked, making the boy remain. I assumed that you were going to get training as soon as possible. Actually, I plan to spend some time with Hinata, as well as help some of my new friends from the exams. Plus, I have to prepare for Shukaku's resealing if it becomes necessary. Hiruzen nodded. In that case, I suggest you take some time to look for a certain student of mine who returned to the village recently. In fact, your father knew him quite well too. Hiruzen handed Naruto a photo. Naruto took the photo and looked at the man in the picture. He had long, spiky white hair, and red stripes that started from his eyes and went down to his chin. He had a large wart on the left side of his nose, and wore a horned headband with the symbol for oil, signifying that he was a partner of the Toad Summons. Naruto's eyes widened. Is this who I think it is? Yes, Hiruzen answered. Jiraiya the Toad Sage, the only remaining shinobi with connections to Mount Miyoboku and the Toad Summons, the sensei to the 4th Hokage, and your godfather. Hiruzen looked up to see a tear falling from Naruto's face. Did he know about me? The Hokage tilted his head in confusion. Yes, I let him know of your birth and your parents' death shortly after the incident. But as a Sannin and the Leaf's primary source of intelligence, his spy network kept him from returning to the village. I also think that he felt somewhat responsible for not protecting your parents. Even so, I'm gonna beat the crap out of him once I find him, Naruto said as he wiped away the tears. Thanks, old man. Naruto vanished from view. Hiruzen sighed. He hoped that Naruto did not end up killing Jiraiya once they found each other. He turned to Hayate, who stayed behind. Did Naruto give you the information? Hayate nodded. Kabuto is working for Orochimaru, which is why he backed out of the prelims, despite not sustaining any severe injury and having an abundance of chakra left. According to the Uzumaki, the Aburame on his team placed a tracker bug on both of them. Once they gather enough intel, we should know what they're here for. Understood. I want you to keep your distance from them. In the meantime, I want you to be watching over the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Make sure he doesn't break. Hayate coughed out a reply before leaving the Hokage to ponder. Streets of the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto walked aimlessly through the streets in the direction of the village hot springs. He was still tired from using the 8 gates against Lee, so he wanted to relax and regain his strength. He had asked Hinata to join him, but she politely declined, saying that she had plans to talk with Kurenai. So, you willing to let me play with that Sannin when you find him? Kurama asked, flexing his claws. I want him to know how angry I am with him over your parents. You liked my parents? Naruto asked his partner. Of course. Your mother was strict and scary, even to me. Although we never communicated much, she respected me enough to make me not want to control her. As for your father, well, he was strong, but that is pretty much all I know about him. I do know that they were happy when they found out they were having you. They would have been good parents. Naruto smiled inwardly. I'll beat Jiraiya up myself, thank you very much. I think he should know that his godson is going to surpass him. Kurama shrugged. He then opened his eyes, making Naruto look at him curiously. He's here. If I know him, he's doing research. Naruto raised an eyebrow. He thought back to the time he read the Sannin's personality profiles he got from the Hokage. One of the first things it said was, "He's a pervert," Kurama replied, the boy's thoughts. Naruto grinned. Even more reason to beat him up. Pervy Sage! The man known as Jiraiya whipped around to see a fist enhanced with fire chakra hit him straight in the chest. He flew back and hit the wall surrounding the woman's side of the hot springs. The girls inside heard the noise and began screaming, "Pervert! Oh no, now look what you did, brat!" Jiraiya yelled to the boy. He looked up and his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Minato? Naruto smirked. Guess again. Jiraiya regained his composure. His face brightened as he noticed the whiskers on Naruto's face, as he had seen them in a photo Hiruzen sent him. He suddenly saddened. Don't give me that look, pervy sage. You can do that once you lose to me in taijutsu, ninjutsu, and sealing. Besides, I need you to help me with some of my dad's techniques. Jiraiya was silent for several minutes. He finally let out a laugh. And I thought I was gonna have to deal with a little brat. But now I find out you know who your parents are, and you are a good shinobi. Hiruzen was right when he said there was nothing to worry about. Jiraiya stood up and shook Naruto's outstretched hand. The two smiled at each other. First things first, kid. I heard you got yourself a girlfriend. When am I gonna meet her? Naruto scoffed. You'll meet her once I beat the pervert part of you into nothingness. I know your old teammate Tsunade used to do it all the time. But know this. I have more chakra than the Hokage, and I could use it all in one punch if I want to. Jiraiya sulked. Alright. So, what does he want to do now that you have met your godfather? Naruto grinned. Well, what do you want to do first? Eat ramen, spar, or meet the Ninetales? Well, I guess we should start with... Wait, did you say the Ninetales? Jiraiya yelled in surprise. Naruto shrugged and turned to head towards Ichiraku Ramen, leaving a very confused Sanin behind.